What is going on, my beautiful people of Oklahoma and the surrounding states? It's your boy Will Joplin with Colin O'Grady with another episode of Fourth and One. Colin, how you doing, brother?
Dude, I'm doing great, Will. Sooner Magic is alive and well. We saw it in full force last Saturday. Dude, I couldn't be happier right now, honestly.
That's maybe one of the craziest games I've seen in a long time. But hey, before we start talking about the game though, I go on my little rants here and there, and Brand Wilson actually starts commenting on our TikToks to put the fries in the bag. And apparently I mean that he's saying get to the point. So shove it, Brand, if you watch this next week. Don't care about your opinions, bub. But anyways, so have you got hot pockets lately, Colin? Have you eaten any hot pockets lately?
I haven't in probably over 10 years.
Okay, well, they pack 9 grams of protein. So I've been getting hot pockets just for a quick little meal here and there when I don't want to cook at night. We have a very big problem within the states of the United because we are no longer providing cardboard that you put the hot pockets in to like cook them on, which changes how they taste completely. Tell me why they can't put cardboard with those anymore. Like, is inflation or something that bad where we cannot add that? It's gonna cost like maybe 50 cents, maybe cardboard with that. It did it again. Mm. Mike is pissing me off today. Anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that that is going on right now, and that's really been bugging me and grinding my gears lately. Makes no sense. I don't think we're in a good spot.
Well, thanks for telling me because if you wouldn't have told me, I never would have known that for the cardboard with hot pockets anymore.
Still probably not gonna eat them anyways, though, are you?
Yeah, I don't, I don't really just go out looking for a hot pocket, just in the mood for a hot pocket. I think, I seriously think the last time I had one was probably in junior high.
You're
And
missing out, bro. They're coming out with
yeah,
new flavors, dog. Philly cheesesteak. You kidding me?
look, I'll just have to take your word for it. Maybe if I'm ever over at your house, you can cook me a hot pocket. But
That sounds good. That sounds good. Nah, but yeah, bro, this Saturday, man, what a turn of events. I you got to watch it, I'm assuming. You were probably
I
locked in
did,
the whole time.
I did get
So
to watch.
I went over to my parents' house to watch it. And I ended up leaving because I was every time I go over there, like, we suck and I get just pissed off. And so I'm like, I drove all the way out here to see y'all for 30 minutes. The Sooners to play like absolute dog ass. So I leave. Grayson texts me, said that Hawkins just threw a 50-yard bomb and we end up scoring. Then I turn on my phone on my way home and I watch the Kip Six, bro. And when I tell you I was losing my mind, I could care less what was in front of me driving down the road. I was locked into that game, bro. Probably one of the greatest plays that I've witnessed being on this earth as a Sooner fan for sure.
Dude, it was a big one. I I was in Nolan Fiesel's wedding
That's
this
right.
past
That's
weekend,
right.
so we were watching in like where the groomsmen were getting ready, and when that happened, dude, me and Kale uh went absolutely nuts. I
How do
mean
you
that
not? I mean, in any setting, how do you not lose your mind there,
yeah,
bro?
I mean that single play right there probably turned our whole season around, honestly. Because if you think about it, we go and lose that one, and we're 3-2, we're 0-2 in the SEC, and I think it just absolutely starts to snowball. But we get that pick six, take the lead, keep the lead late, and now we're 4-1, rolling into a bye week. Got Texas coming up, and you
It,
feel a whole lot better now than
like,
you do if we'd have dropped that game.
we've been playing so bad this whole season. To say that we're still 4-1 is absolutely mind boggling. That's
Right.
crazy.
Well, there's been good moments. What do you want to start with, offense or the defense?
Man, I could care less. I mean, I've got a little bit of takes on both. We can go ahead and start with the offense.
All
Uh,
right.
One thing that really stood out to me was as bad as it went throughout the whole game, they ended up finding a way, especially, I mean, even though Kip Lewis's pick does happen, Michael Hawkins doesn't finally connect deep. I don't think we're even in that position. I think Auburn has a completely different game plan that next drive, and I don't think that interception happens. So hats off to that kid, especially, first game as a true freshman on the road at Auburn. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot more than previous freshmen at OU have been playing at away, opposed to like Lawrence or Manhattan or someplace in Kansas. But no, he definitely. I don't want to say he exceeded my expectations because like obviously I tried to have a crazy expectation of his outing this week, but I think he did his job for sure. So I think obviously we'll get into our MVPs later, but I think he did about as well as he could do given the circumstances.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say too that we found our guy.
Yeah.
I think he is QB1 for the remainder of the season at this point. And like you said, given the circumstances, he looked really good down. Will, have you ever seen a team that's down their five starting wide receivers for the
And
same
kicker,
game? Has it ever happened in the history of college football? I
maybe
honestly,
not college football. I was gonna say maybe like flag or something like that, but that is unheard of,
I mean,
bro.
I honestly don't know. So he's going out there with the 2 and 3 deeps, in a hostile environment, first career
Did,
start.
did Jacoby Johnson did he catch a ball last week?
I don't know that he did. We can look at the stats here in a minute when we pick our MVPs, but I don't remember seeing him. Um, I I really doubted if he would get to play or not, just because they switched him, this week. That's a pretty
Yeah,
quick
I was
turnaround
gonna say.
to, start producing in a week at that level. But I think I thought Javante Barnes ran hard again like he always does.
Mhm.
Um, he just there's just not much there still. Uh, but Michael Hawkins with his feet, man, he was even
He's
getting
fast,
spied,
bro.
dude. Well, he went on that first touchdown he scored. He went 48 yards in 4.8 seconds, is what it showed on the graphic, and that's with full pads and carrying a football.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
wild.
that's pretty impressive. And he was getting spied all game long with QB spies and things like that. So the fact that he was able to produce as much as he did with his legs is really impressive. And I mean, like you said, he went out there, did what he had to do to win, flipping into the end zone again on that 2 point conversion. That's two back-to-back weeks. He goes up
It,
airborne, just laying it all out there.
it's so
Like,
hard not to root for a guy that puts his like body on the line anytime he can like that, bro. I mean, like even if he
right,
does, it's hard not to at least give him your respect.
exactly. And I think that sort of stuff is what's going to spark this offense going forward. Um, Jackson Arnold has the talent. He's got the physical talent. I think. I just don't think he's got that little extra edge that Michael Hawkins has showed us so
Hmm.
far, and so hopefully he keeps improving on that a little bit. But we'll talk a little bit here about the bye week coming up. But let's talk about that defense, man.
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
they
another great
definitely
performance.
got Robert Spear. Is it no? Hold on, R. Mason Thomas, bro. I've never seen somebody turn it up in the when we need him like he has the past few games. I mean, he definitely has the clutch genes and he can get it done when he needs to. The only really bad thing that caught my eye were those deep balls that they kept getting us on. I feel
Mm,
like as we continue our season, we're just gonna go up against more and more threats that'll burn us downfield. I mean, you look at Alabama and what they're doing with Ryan Williams, which I'll talk about him later, but that may be the most impressive 17-year-old I've ever seen in my entire life, Colin. I'm not even kidding. The dude is insane. But we got beat on some deep balls. I mean, it I guess it's unrealistic to assume we wouldn't get beat at least once, but a few times it was kind of like, all right, like let's figure it out. But overall, I mean, I think they did a great job. Like I said last week, I think these as these next few games come along, I think our defense is honestly going to be the only reason we stay in them. Um, so they did their job, and once it came crunch time, I mean, they basically saved the season for us. But I mean, we kind of expected them to do that at some point.
right. And I think as far as the deep balls go, I think that was a lot of some of it. I think was just play calling for Auburn. They called the right play at the right time, type of thing.
Hmm.
And then other stuff, I think the safeties have been getting maybe a little over aggressive, coming up trying to stop runs, and we just get burned over the top. So, I mean, if I'm seeing that stuff, BV is obviously seeing it, and it'll get fixed, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah.
But yeah, R. Mason Thomas, they've literally been calling him the closer because in
God,
fourth quarters, that dude is just a different animal.
he's
He
insane.
and then the sack he had, I don't know if it was to turn him over on downs or if it was to force a fourth down, but that
Is
sack
that
he
where he
had
got him
late in the game.
twice, basically?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he runs around, chases him all over the place, and absolutely just lays Payton Thorne out. Like he hit him hard. That dude's a gamer. He's an absolute baller. Danny Stutzman with another impressive game.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Spears Jennings been having a really good season. Billy Bowman played pretty good. He was in on a lot of tackles early on that goal line stand. He was in there, first guy to make contact when they stood him up at the goal line. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the defense. They just continue to impress. And then Kip Lewis, SEC Defensive Player of the Week, Kip Six saving the season, man.
Uh,
You can't say enough about the type of game he had. So uh, really exciting moving forward, seeing how those guys keep playing at a super high level.
man, so well, I guess we'll get into it after we talk about the bye, but I really want to hear your thoughts on how first off if Texas is going to go with Quinn or if they're going to keep Arch back there because I mean, I think whoever they end up going with, I think they're going to be in for a very tough spot. Whether it's Quinn trying to get back in the groove, it's not necessarily the best team to try to get back in your groove on. And then if it's Arch Manning, then we gotta. This is first, I guess, really big game. So I definitely have high hopes in 2 weeks. But now let's go ahead and let's talk about this bye week, brother. What are you thinking about this?
Well, first of all, I think if we can just get some guys healthy over the bye week, that would be absolutely huge going forward for this offense, and especially going into OU Texas week.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what their injuries are. I know that Nick Anderson is still battling um, the hamstring stuff, and then like Jalil Farouk, obviously with the broken bone in his foot. But I don't really know what Deion Burks' injury is. I don't know if you know what it is. I haven't heard anything, but just
I don't either.
and getting even no, I don't think we're gonna get all five back. Obviously, we're not gonna get Jaden Gibson or Jalil Farouk back. I don't think, but if we can just get one or two of those guys, that would go so far into helping Michael Hawkins. And that's another thing in the bye week. Get him a little more comfortable running that offense
Mm-hmm.
headed into this game. So those are
It,
two things I want to see.
still, even if we do, which I think we'll at least get, surely we get at least maybe three wide receivers back. Hopefully, if we're lucky, we maybe get four. Um, but I still, I think that definitely opens up Michael Hawkins' game a little bit. I mean, now he can not only just scramble, but they can't spy on him the whole time because we've got enough guys. I guess that can make a play. Bar Sharp actually looked good the other night too, catching a few passes, even though one got called back. So that makes me feel better about him. Coming off 2 weeks ago, I thought he couldn't catch the damn ball at all. But nah. So I still though with Latrell, man, Latrell scares me to death. I think he's a jackass. I think it was a lazy hire, and I feel like at some point, Michael Hawkins has got to just tell him, "Listen, I'm not listening to the plays you're calling. I'm gonna do my own shit."
Yeah, I'm still not sold on Seth Luttrell. That's for sure. But I don't know, man. It's so hard to be. You just don't know with how many guys are hurt and on the
Yeah,
offensive line and wide receiver room. But one thing that is positive is even when the play calling isn't good and we don't have our guys out there, Michael Hawkins still can go out and make something happen.
yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
really promising. But Auburn's a lower tier SEC team, so who knows how much longer, like how many more games we could get away with that without executing at a high level and
Yeah,
having like crazy talent out there. Like we are gonna have to get some guys healthy, and we still do have to clean some stuff up as far as execution goes. But I don't know. We're in a so much better spot than we were, 2 3 weeks ago, in my
no,
opinion.
for sure, for sure. And I saw on Twitter too some SEC dude was like, "That Sooner Magic shit's gonna stay in the Big 12." Like that's the most annoying thing I've ever heard. And it was
Did you
like,
see
"Well,
the
it's still here.
Did
It's
you see
still
the
here."
community notes? Like, how people can go and like fact check, and it was like Sooner Magic does in fact play in the SEC or something like that. But
Best believe it, bro. That's one thing I think that'll be consistent with this team is at least one game out of each season. We'll have some crazy stuff happen. We get to claim it as some Sooner magic.
oh yeah, Sooner Magic, it's alive and well, like we said. But we might need some more of it, headed
We're
through the
gonna need
rest
a
of the
lot of it.
season.
We're gonna have to be dumping it out of our pockets left and right, bro.
Yeah,
Because
hopefully we
ain't
didn't use
nothing
all of it
about the
up.
rest of the season is gonna be easy except Maine, and we may get beat by Maine. There's no telling.
Nah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But we got Alabama's the number one team in the country now, and then Texas is number two. So it's uh it's definitely not going to get any easier from here on out.
Man,
So
while we're on it, do you want to? Let's just discuss that. Were you able to watch the Alabama Georgia game?
no, I wasn't. I saw some
Oh
highlights.
my goodness, dude. What a game. But honestly, the beginning spurts, I know Carson Beck is like a top tier guy, but he showed me spurts. He looked a lot like, first off, let me just go ahead and say he looks like if Sidney Sweeney and Sid the Sloth had a kid. Okay. I don't ask me about the Sidney Sweeney part. I'm not really getting into any of that. You look at both of them combined, you have Carson Beck. So that's the first thing I noticed with the dude. But the second thing, he showed spurts of like Jackson Arnold, bro. He looked scared as shit some of those drives. And I was just like, dude, like I think he's a senior, right? So he's obviously been there before. Dude's making millions of dollars. You can't look scared to death. Are you kidding me? They're gonna eat you alive. But he definitely turned it around and my God, Ryan Williams, bro. Dude is I'm trying not to overhype him that much, but he may be the best wide receiver in college football as a freshman. I'm not even bullshitting.
I don't think that that's even that outlandish to say. That dude has been tearing defenses up, and I literally saw something today on Twitter, and it was like Ryan Williams has Kyrie Irving's handles on a football field.
Yeah.
And it's true, like the way the dude moves, he's so shifty. Guys are just like he's literally snatching guys left and right. And the thing about him is he's makes it look so easy.
He
Like he doesn't
does,
even look like
bro.
he's trying out there.
He looks like a professional, and that's like crazy to say because like, what were we doing at 17? Like,
I was
I mean,
still
yeah,
a,
we were,
I was
we
still in
were.
high school.
Me, me too. I was in high school for another year,
Yeah.
but I mean, we were athletes. But my God,
Yeah, not
kid
anything
is.
like that. That dude's a freak.
Oh man,
But
I don't
that'll be
know.
I mean, that's definitely one I'm worried about circled on OU's schedule because
Yeah,
they're
but
playing well. They
I
are
don't know.
playing well.
I'm a big Jalen Milroe guy too. I love that guy. So if we don't win it, which we probably won't, I would like to see Alabama compete just to see how it turns out.
Well, I feel like you might get some hate for that.
It's all right.
But
It's all right.
speaking of Jalen Milroe, that dude's huge too.
He's a big guy,
He looks like a linebacker playing quarterback. But
very big guy.
yeah, so what do you say? Let's go, let's pick who we thought our MVPs were for last week's game, and then since we have a bye week next week, we'll hold off on score predictions and things like that. We'll save those for next week. But I mean, it's hard to not go with Michael Hawkins and Kip Lewis, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for like just a little bit, I had considered our Mason Thomas just because of like how big he was in that moment. But when you come to think about it, I mean, we don't win that game at all without Kip Lewis, so I think it's hard not to give it to him.
Right. And
I honestly, I don't remember who I picked on my defensive end. I know for a fact I picked Hawkins for my offensive.
yeah, I can't remember who I picked either for the life of me, but and I saw a thing too today, and everyone's gonna remember the Kip Six, which as they should.
Hmm.
That's already an iconic play in Oklahoma history now, being that it's the first road SEC game, our first SEC win, and late in the game, just big time player making a big time play. But I saw a thing today, and he was the highest graded like coverage linebacker this past week too.
Really?
Yeah, he had like a 94.6 grading in pass
Well,
coverage.
was it him or was it R. Mason Thomas? I got SEC Defensive Player of the week.
It was Kip Lewis.
It was Kip Lewis.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, all I know is that if R. Mason Thomas keeps playing how he's playing, he is going to make himself a lot of money because I think there's plenty of NFL teams out there right now that he could play for.
Oh, absolutely. And guys are always looking for somebody. You win the game at the line of scrimmage, offense and
Hmm.
defense, and that dude has shown against, and he played pretty well against Tennessee too. So he's been showing a lot against these, big SEC offensive lines. And if he continues the way he's playing, he's going to make himself a lot of money.
Yeah.
Um, it'll be sad to see him go, obviously, but he's playing himself into a lot of money. He is.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He
He's.
looks
I
very impressive.
think he's stupid if he stays, depending on how the season turns out. But
Right. I agree. So
man, well,
this
so do
was
we want to? Do you say we want to hold our predictions and stuff for score predictions for next week? But like, do you want to talk about the like what do you think's going to happen in the game, or do we want to save that for next week's episode?
Yeah, we could touch on it here. I think you
Well,
mentioned
first off, let me ask you: do you think they're going to go with Quinn, or do you think they're going to stay
right,
with Art?
and I was just about to talk about that. And Steve Sarkisian came out and said an injury, doesn't lose you your spot. So I think 100% Quinn Ewers starts that game. Whether he finishes that game, he probably will. But I guess it remains to be seen. He's hasn't played in 2 weeks, and this is absolutely going to be the best defense he's seen all year long
Oh yeah.
in a crazy environment, and which he's been there before. This is what his third year playing in that game, so I don't know. It's going to come down to like the Tennessee game is who can make fewer mistakes will come out of that game with a win, but um we need to get healthy over this bye week. Michael Hawkins needs some more time running that offense, and the defense needs to just keep playing like they're playing. And honestly, yeah, I think you get some guys healthy, defense stays playing like they are, and anything can happen in that game. Honestly, I don't think either team's going to run away with it.
I think you're completely right. I don't think we're going to see a rerun of 2 years ago. I think our defense is way too good for that. Um, but I think they're going to have to make it a close game, just like they did against Auburn. They're going to have to give us life. I think we're going to have a crazy takeaway again, just because I'm really like I don't care how good Michael Hawkins has been playing compared to Jackson Arnold. I mean, he hasn't been playing amazing, but he's been playing good enough. But I don't have enough faith in our offense, like as a whole, to say that. I mean, I think anything can happen, guaranteed. I mean, it's OU Texas. I mean, typically it's always a game. So I definitely think some crazy stuff's going to happen. But like you said, I mean, it's just if we can limit our mistakes and our turnovers, quick 3 and outs, I think we have a chance. But with that being said, I'm not as confident as I want to be.
Yeah, and I feel like OU Texas is a game that you can really never go into super confident because
Hmm.
it's so crazy. I think I saw a stat the other day that was like out of all the OU Texas games that have been played, like 80% of them have been decided by one score. So it's just one of those games, dude. No matter what type of year your team's having, anything
And
can
I,
happen.
I, I think Texas fans too, like, I mean, obviously you have the entitled ones that think they're going to beat the absolute shit out of us. But I mean, if they really pay attention to how, these games have been played the past 10 years or so, I mean, I think a true Texas fan that knows what he's talking about isn't necessarily comfortable going into this game. I think I mean, just like us, I mean, I'm nervous as shit. And we still got
Oh,
two weeks to go.
absolutely, and I'm gonna be there. So
That's
I'm
right. That's
I'm
going to
I'm
be
even
an
more nervous
experience.
because we could go in there and get a mud hole stomped in us like we did in 2021. Obviously, nobody wants to be a part of that or 2022,
Well,
whatever year it was.
I think we're all me and Aiden, Talon, Trayson, Dane, and all them are getting together to watch the games on because there's a lot of football games on the 12th.
Oh
So I
yeah, it's
think
a good slate for sure.
hopefully we'll be consuming a few drinks before the game. So if it does go bad, it won't be as bad.
Well, look, depending on how the game goes too, you might be consuming quite a few afterwards too.
That is no joke.
Either in celebration or in sorrow, absolute just devastation.
I think it's gonna be a win-win regardless. To be honest.
Right. That's the attitude to go in with. So I don't know. And another thing about that game is the running game has to have somewhat of a pulse. And
Yeah.
We can get at least one, or if we can get one wide receiver healthy, say it's Deion Burks, then it's him, Brandon Thompson, JJ Hester and Petaway. Uh, then that at least makes it to where
Did not know the flash was on. That's my fault.
you just outed yourself, bro. But that at least makes it to where the running game, Michael Hawkins can get freed up a little bit because they at least have to key in on, Deion Burks and
hmm
Brandon Thompson a little bit. They can't just sit there and spy Michael Hawkins the whole game. So hopefully the he's a big part of the run game. I feel like Michael Hawkins is gonna have to be a big part of the run game if they want to get anything going.
I think we're definitely going to see, especially, I mean, he handled himself well against Auburn as far as nerves and stuff go, but he knows this one's going to be a little bit different, especially like
Right.
his first. So I'm curious to see how he handles it. I'm hoping he just shows us he's an absolute dog.
Oh yeah. Which I mean, I think he's shown it this far. He kind of gives me a little bit of the Jalen Hurts vibes as far as how he carries himself, and like you
Yeah.
hardly see the guy really get too riled up. You never see him too high or too low. Um, but with Jackson, it was different. He never got super pumped up, but you could tell he was scared when he went out there. And Michael Hawkins is more of kind of a stoic type of, I guess, calming presence out there. So, and I mean, if you've seen his dad, they kept showing his dad, and his dad's just stone
Um,
cold.
he used to play there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did a while back.
Well,
So that's cool. Carry on the
and
family
no matter
legacy.
how tough it may be, at least we're not an OSU fan because our quarterback is not only 35, but he sucks ass. So they've got
Yeah,
that
they
going for him. The
they
Alan
got
Bowman hate is
whooped.
back.
They got whooped, dude.
I mean,
Um, that's
Ollie
2 weeks.
Gordon's stupid for staying, bro.
Yeah, his value is quickly going like this.
Yeah.
Um, that's 2 weeks in a row. His production has been way down. I saw a thing that was like, um, I can't remember if it was his first 6 carries or something, of the game, and it was like he'd already rushed for like 69 yards, and it was like the rest of the game he rushed for like 2 yards the whole rest of the game
Uh-huh.
or something. But how about K State's quarterback? He's a freshman out there too, Avery Johnson. Um,
The
running
dude with
all
the
over the
locks,
folks. What's that?
the dude with the long hair.
Yeah,
God, I bet
he.
he has a great time in Manhattan. I bet they love him.
Well, I don't know how good the pickings are in Manhattan, Kansas, but he probably, I would imagine, doesn't have any trouble.
Uh,
But OSU looks bad, dude. They
I feel I don't feel bad for them at all. But
no, I don't either. Um, I don't even mind Mike Gundy. I think he's a good coach, but you wonder if Oklahoma State has kind of reached their peak with
mhm.
Mike Gundy at the helm of that thing. Like you wonder if they're gonna get uh any better when he's there, or if they've gotten as good as they're ever gonna get. So, but it's like you can't fire the guy because he brought him out of the basement. He made them
I mean,
relevant,
you
but
you can. I mean, it's just like the Brent Venables stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, this shit is a business, bro. I mean, you sometimes you've got to cut ties. Brent, I'm talking to you. Fire Seth, bro. But fuck.
who knows what happens, man, with that whole deal. And maybe it is all just because of injuries. Maybe Seth Luttrell is some great mastermind OC, but
Well, you sound like you're not completely shitting on him. So, like, do you still have somewhat faith in the guy?
uh, I still don't like the hire. I don't, but I mean, we are 4-1 at this point. I don't think that if they fired him in the offseason, I think that people could kind of see that coming, but I don't think it's the type of thing, at least at this point, where I'd want them to fire him in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, isn't
like,
he isn't he a co-offensive coordinator? So I mean, as much as he
yeah,
doesn't
he
blame, we got the
technically
other
is,
guy.
but it's him and Joe John Finley, but I don't know how much Joe John Finley's actually, um, you know,
Yeah.
giving his input on the play calling or anything like that. So,
No, bro. I don't know. Well, shit. Do you want to touch base on our so initially we had, I think week one we had talked about some Heisman predictions. I know I went with Cam Ward. But halfway we're not halfway, 6 5 5 6 weeks into the season now. I mean, do you have any front runners that are catching your eyes?
oh man, I mean, Can you throw Ryan Williams in there? I mean, I know
I
it's
mean,
kind of a quarterback award, but that guy's been tearing it up. I know I picked Travis Hunter at the start of the year, and I mean he's still having a pretty good season. He had a pick last week, I think.
and hit the
Um,
pose, bro.
yeah,
He hit the pose.
he did. Yeah, I saw that. But I just don't know with him, being out there in Colorado, they're not going to win a lot of games. Which I say that they've only lost what 1 or 2 games this year so
Like
far.
one to Nebraska right
Yeah.
now.
But I don't know. It'll probably end up going to a quarterback like it always does. But I don't know. What do you think? What are your
I
thoughts
mean,
on?
I'm still big on my guy Cam Ward. I think his one thing I like about that guy though, his confidence is through the roof, bro. Through the roof. And he's so not you watch his clips, he's so nonchalant when he's like under pressure and stuff. It looks like he's just messing around in the backyard. But no, he's still up there for me. I mean, obviously you depending on how Alabama's the rest of their season goes, I think you gotta throw Jalen Milroe in there for sure. Then I think obviously Travis Hunter is always going to be a favorite. So as long as he's continuing to be an impact on both sides of the ball. And then I honestly I would love to see Ron Williams thrown in the conversation, but I just don't. I don't really see that happening. I mean, I think he's going to have multiple more humongous games like the one he had this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, a few years back, Devontae Smith won it as a wide receiver.
hmm
So,
I think
um,
initially too, he had as soon as he got there, I think I saw this on Twitter. He had asked one of the trainers there to get him on Devontae Smith's workout plan.
really,
Yeah,
dude, I don't know, man. He's so good. It's gonna be scary seeing that team come into Norman,
yeah, it is. It
especially if
is.
they keep playing like they're playing. But one thing about that game, I know this is way out in the future, which I'm not saying. Obviously, everyone knows Georgia is physical, but OU's defense is really, really physical, and we
Mhm.
have a really good secondary and really good linebackers. So
We're
it makes
finally hitting people, bro.
yeah, so it makes you wonder what type of production he's gonna have in Norman.
For
Um,
sure.
I say that he'll probably go for like 6 catches, like 170 yards and a couple touchdowns now, but I like to think that we could hold him in check better than some of these other defenses have been.
Well, and hopefully those Alabama women show out in Norman, because I honestly wasn't impressed with the Tennessee girls. No disrespect, I know they're all beautiful, I'm sure, but I was just looking for something that made my jaw drop, and I expecting that in a few weeks when Alabama comes into town for
Well,
sure.
don't act like you're gonna go up and talk to any of these girls anyways.
No, listen, I think I've came to the conclusion that I'm not going to go out to Norman ever again. It's not I'm not saying I'm an introvert. I mean, if you know me, you know I like to talk to people, but in that setting, bro, everybody's there for one reason, okay? And I'm just at a point in my life, I'm not trying to hook up, bro. Call me gay, call me whatever, but I'm I'm sick and tired of living like this, man. I got to find a woman, need to settle on down.
Look, I
You
thought
you
you were
got you got a girlfriend, don't you?
look, I thought you were telling me the other day that you found your wife.
No, no. What?
Dang, man. That didn't last long.
I mean, it's like I don't. Eh, yeah, it didn't work out,
Look,
but
look, it happens, man.
it
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 happens.
happens. And dude, I'm not kidding. So saw today that girl I used to talk to is now engaged. And that makes like the fifth one in 2 years that I've talked to. So like I don't know if you've seen the movie Good Luck Chuck. Kind of the same scenario. But it it definitely hurts. I'm obviously happy for them all. That's great. But at the same time, it's like, man, like I must be doing something wrong, bro. So I don't know. I'm
So,
figuring it out. It's all in God's plan.
right, right. That's all any of us can do, man. Just try and figure it out. But to any of our female listeners out there, if you want to get engaged, I guess you should
Come
just
have a
go date
conversation
Will.
with me. Yes. I'll
It's
I won't charge you this time. Second date, $10. But anyways, well,
well,
I mean,
man. Look,
what you go
she's
ahead.
she's out there, man. She's out there. You're gonna find
I mean, I'm thinking about moving to Columbia or something, bro. Give me one, call me
her.
Poppy, Poppy
Look,
Joplin, Poppy.
you just keep that mustache. You work on a little tan. You look like you could be one of them, man.
I know, man. I don't know. I gotta speak on my Spanish.
Yeah.
Hey, senor.
Which
But nah, man. I don't. I mean, since this is a bye week, I guess we could keep this episode short. We could just run it through the 40. I mean, we got 2 minutes left, anyways.
good.
But Nah, man, I'm definitely I kind of I like where we're at right now as a team. 4-1, like we talked about. It hasn't been the prettiest by all means. I mean, it's been damn near one of the ugliest things I've seen. But I mean, we're 4-1, so there's not much to complain about right now. Got a lot to look forward to in 2 weeks. Kind of sucks we got to wait that long, but on the flip side, we get to restore our mental health this weekend. So
Yeah, and I mean we've been going at it. It's been pretty intense. 4 home games right in a row. Which you came out to 2 of those, and then uh, playing Auburn at Auburn. So I bet they needed a bye week as well.
for
So
sure, for sure.
give me your hottest take for OU Texas. Absolutely scalding hot. We want Willie Hot Takes to make an appearance right now in this
Willie
next
hot
minute.
takes, bro. Give me our Mason Thomas with a strip sack, and Deion Burks has. I don't know if I'm gonna be really hot. I'll be conservative to an extent. Willie mild takes today. Give me Deion Burks at 2 receiving touchdowns.
Okay, 2 receiving touchdowns. All right, give me 150 yards rushing for the
From?
offense.
Oh, okay, I was about to say from one individual.
Give me 185 yards rushing. Sooners win by 2 scores.
Book it. Book it. I like that. I like that a lot. Now we run out of time. Peace and love, people. We will see y'all next week. Boomer Sooner.
We're high American nights.